Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. Today's video is a pretty crazy one, pretty scary story. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. It's definitely some crazy shit. Before I get into it, I just want to say my voice is a little bit better today. I went to the doctor and they put me on steroids, so my throat doesn't hurt as much, so I can talk kind of normal, and that's cool. Also, they're not the kind of steroids that like make you all yoked and shit in the gym. It's just ones that make inflammation better. So yeah, I'm not going to be buff in 2 weeks. I'm still a fucking twig. But yeah, guys, today's story time is about a very crazy night, a very scary one, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So today's story time all takes place in 2017. I was sitting in my house on my computer, scrolling through Twitter, just bored out of my mind, and I texted one of my friends because I wanted something to do and no one was hitting me up. So I hit one of my friends up and I was like, yo, please tell me something's going on tonight because I am so bored. He's like, yeah, my sister's actually having a party, but I don't know if that's your scene or not. Like, I don't think I'm going to even go. And I was like, honestly, man, I'll do anything at this point, so I'm down. He's like, all right, man, if you go, I'll go. I'm like, bet, let's do it. So I went to my friend's house, and we just essentially crashed his sister's party. Like, we just went there and hung out with all of her friends. She was like 2 years older than us, so it wasn't like there was some huge age difference, and we like couldn't get along with them. They were pretty much the same people that we hung around at school anyway. So I ended up hanging out at this party for like 4 hours straight, just having fun. It was actually a pretty cool party. Plus, I knew a lot of the people there, so yeah, it was a good time, right? Now, fast forward to me leaving. So I say goodbye to my friend, the one that invited me over. I say goodbye to his sister. I told her thank you for the party. I had fun. And after this, I walk out and I call an Uber. Now, this is really where the story time begins. So I'm sitting outside on my friend's little bench in his front yard, and I'm just waiting for this Uber to pull up. Now, the Uber app was telling me that my driver was going to be a girl and that she was going to pull up in an SUV. So I'm just sitting here waiting for this SUV to pull up. It's like 2 minutes away. And finally, after a couple minutes, I see headlights coming down the neighborhood road, right? And I think it's the Uber because it's getting closer on the app as well. And this car pulls up, and it's not an SUV. It's just a regular, like, four-door car just sitting there out front. And I walk up to the window, and the window rolls down, and it's this really jacked dude not wearing a shirt. And he goes, "You Austin?" I was like, "Yeah, are you the Uber?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Shit, my bad. Like, the app says something different, so I didn't know it was you." He's like, "It's all good." So I get in the car, right? And already, kind of sketchy, right? Like, different car, different driver. Dude wasn't wearing a shirt. Thought that was kind of odd, but whatever. I don't judge. So I get in the car, I get in the back seat, and we take off to the destination. At least I thought we were. And after like 15 minutes, we're still not there, right? Which is weird because I only live 5 minutes from this person's house. So I open up the app to check and see where we're going. And we are literally going in the opposite direction from my house. Now, this guy was kind of scary looking, and he didn't look like the type of person that wanted to be, like, questioned. So I just didn't say anything. I thought maybe he took a wrong turn and he would reroute us in a minute. But another couple minutes goes by, and we're still going in the wrong direction. So I speak up. I'm like, "Hey, man, like, not trying to be a dick, but, like, I think we're going the wrong way. My house is back there," and I told him what area it was in. He's like, "Yeah, my bad, just taking a quick detour." I was like, "What kind of detour?" Because, a detour means he's stopping somewhere and, like, doing something. I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Don't worry about it." Now I start getting scared, right? Like, what the fuck do you mean, don't worry about it? Like, I'm in the backseat of this dude's car. I thought he was just some Uber driver taking me to my fucking house, but he's driving me on some weird detour and he's not telling me where we're going. So I speak up again. I was like, "Sir, what do you mean, don't worry about it? Like, where are we going?" He's like, "Dude, just let me fucking drive." I was like, "Dude, drive all you want. Just please drive me home. I don't feel comfortable, like, going to some random place. I don't know where we're going. Can you just tell me where we're going?" He's like, "No, it's not your business." And I'm like, okay, this has to be a fucking joke. And he just completely ignores me, right? So at this point, I'm scared. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what this dude's intentions are. And right as I'm about to start talking again and asking more questions, his phone starts ringing. And he pulls open his phone, and he answers it, and he goes, "Hello?" And he goes, "Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, I just picked him up. Yeah, I got him." Now, at this point, I'm like, wait, what? Did I just hear that correctly? And then he goes, "Yeah, we'll be there soon," and then hangs up. Now I'm really pissing myself, right? Because he has plans to take me somewhere. He said, "Yeah, I just picked him up. We'll be there soon." Like, what the fuck, dude? And also, when he hung up the phone, I could kind of see the number on his home screen, and the phone number had the same area code as where I lived, meaning it was a local number, and he was talking to somebody that lived nearby. So it's not like he was on the phone with Uber or something. Like, he was on the phone with a local person. Like, it wasn't Uber because they call from a different area code. So I'm freaking out, right? Like, this guy essentially kidnapped me. We're going the opposite way of my house. At this point, we're 20, 25 minutes away from my house. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere at this point. Like, literally nothing around us besides trees and a house here and there. Like, we're way out of the city now. And I don't know where we're going. All I know is someone's waiting for us because he just got off the phone with someone that was asking about where we were. And we're going like 60 miles an hour on these back roads. The good news is he actually didn't lock the doors when I got in the car, so I could open the door and get out. Problem was, we were going 60, which means if I open the door and jump out, I'm probably going to get seriously hurt or worse. So I can't do that, right? At least not yet. And I am just sitting in the back seat, terrified, wondering if we're ever going to slow down so I can just jump out. Like, all I wanted him to do was slow down to like 20 miles an hour, maybe even 30, and I was just going to try and jump out and roll. That's how fucking scared I was, dude. I didn't know where I was going to end up or what was going to happen to me, so I was freaking out. Now, after about another 5 minutes of driving, we come up to a red light, and he's forced to start slowing down. And before the car was even stopped, I swing my back door open, and he turns around and screams, "Hey, stop!" And he grabs my shirt. Like, he literally grabs me and tries to stop me. And I dive out of the back seat, and it completely rips the back of my shirt because I was not letting him stop me. I just dove for it and ripped my shirt. And yeah, I fell down into the road. Luckily, he wasn't going fast. He was almost stopped when I jumped out. So even though we were still moving, we were only going like 10 miles an hour. So I fell down, I rolled a little bit, scraped up my arms, got up, and ran as fast as I could with my phone in my hand into the woods nearby, and just did not look back. I ran so fucking fast, probably the fastest I've ever ran in my life, because it felt like my life depended on it. And yeah, I ended up running like an entire mile through this forest, and I got to the other side, I got out, I was in this neighborhood at this point, the car was nowhere to be found, the guy was gone, he didn't follow me, he didn't chase me as far as I know. So I immediately opened my phone, and I called the fucking cops because I didn't know what else to do, right? I didn't know who else to turn to. Like, I just didn't know. So I called the cops, told them everything that happened. They asked me if I had a name or a license plate. I told them no because the car wasn't the same one on the Uber app. But I gave them the car description of like what it looked like and what the guy looked like. And they said they'd send people out to go look for him and they'd have someone come meet me. And yeah, like 15 minutes later, the cops pulled up and I was talking to one of the officers. I filed a report. Basically just told him all the same shit I told the person on the phone. And I also like showed him the Uber app and like what the profile looked like of the person, and they took that down. And I also filed a report with Uber, right? So fast forward like an hour later, I get back to my house. The police officer was nice enough to give me a ride home. He told me he'd let me know if anything pops up, if they find him, and they get any more details. I say thank you, and I'm just sitting in my house in complete shock that I made it home alive, right? Because I literally thought that like I was just gonna get fucking captured or something. It was crazy. And the next morning rolls around, and I get a call from the cops at like 8 a.m. I wake up to my phone ringing, and I answer it. I'm like, hello? And it was the same cop I had just seen a few hours ago before I went to bed. He was probably still on his shift. He's like, good news, we got him. I was like, wait, really? He's like, yeah, and we also found a bunch of stuff in his trunk that was not legal. And he starts telling me about all the shit they found, right? He's like listing it all off. Tells me they found weapons in his car, a bunch of other stuff, like pills and shit like that. And when he's telling me this, I'm just getting more scared. I'm like, yo, I was in this dude's car and he wasn't telling me where we were going. And we were driving out in the middle of nowhere. Like, was this dude about to like straight unalive me? Like, what the fuck? And then the cop tells me, yeah, he also told me the story of what happened with you and why he had you in his car. And I was like, yeah, what did he say? So apparently, this is the guy's story. And I don't know if I believe it, but apparently the dude was taking me to a drug deal. Yeah, he was about to go and pick up a bunch of fucking pills. And he didn't want to be alone when he did it so that he had a lower chance of getting robbed. And that person he was on the phone with was apparently the dealer he was going to. So yeah, this dude was going to pick up more drugs, even though he already had drugs in his car. And he wanted to not be alone, so he took an Uber rider with him, thinking that would be a good idea, when it's really just like kidnapping. Now honestly, I can't lie, it sounds like a believable story. I wouldn't like doubt it that was true. But that's still fucking wrong and illegal and horrible to put a random person through that's just trying to go home. So yeah, needless to say, he got charged for the drugs in his car, the weapons. Oh, and also I forgot to mention another thing he got in trouble for is he didn't have a license plate on his car. Not in the front, not in the back. I didn't notice that when I got in the car because I just never check. Now I check every time. But yeah, I didn't check back then. And I also didn't see it when I ran away because I just didn't look at his car at all. I was gone. But yeah, he got charged for a lot of things. He got charged for the drugs in his car. He had 2 pistols that were unregistered. Got charged for those. Everything surrounding me he got in trouble for as well. Also, his girlfriend got banned for Uber and she got in trouble as well because she was letting him use his Uber account to do this shit. She claims that she had no idea that he was going to do that with me in the car and like try and go buy drugs. Like she had no idea apparently, but still she let him use her account to try and make some extra money. So she got in trouble with Uber and banned. The cops talked to her about it as well. But yeah, all in all, dude got in a bunch of trouble. He went to jail for a couple of years. I believe he's out now, which kind of scares me to think about, but I think if anything was going to happen, it would have happened by now, and I don't think he's after me or anything like that. I think he's just a fucking idiot that mixed me up with some shit that I didn't want to be mixed up with. And yeah, he learned his lesson, but that's pretty much it. I didn't take Uber for a long time after that because I was fucking terrified. And now whenever I do take one, I check the plates, I make sure it's the same person, and I make sure that it's the same car. And that should be the moral of this story. Don't ride with strangers, and if you're going to use Uber or any riding service, make sure that it's someone that matches their photo, same license plate, same car. You can check all that on the Uber app. And don't get in the car if it's not matching all of that stuff. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the story time. Definitely one of the crazier ones and probably one of the craziest on this channel. So please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Baby, I'm damaged, I cannot plan this. Won't you be mine tonight?